And I'm here. Sorry about that. My sound sounded kind of weird. Hello, folks. I see people are in the room. There's Al and Latro. Hey, Al, Latro, I've missed you, bud. Forgive me for my look. I showered and can't do a thing with my hair. Anyways, and I'm sure I've got people on the other stream. Hello to you. I don't know who's where and what and where. Okay, you two are on the other stream. Let me jump over to the other stream real quick so I can be with you guys. I probably won't be in the stream when I start the video, though. Let me get this. Oh, I pass it every time. Where are you? There we go. Is this it? There you are. Okay, now I see you guys in the actual YouTube. So how you folks doing? How's everybody doing? I hope well. I'll start the upload at 12:20. Al was talking about owls, so I figured this would be a good one to do. So we're going to do the connection between owls and abductees. And then maybe we'll do another one after that. She wasn't the only one that requested UFO stuff. So, and I don't do a lot of the UFO stuff. So it's big news. Hey, Mr. Jarvis, how you doing, sir? Forgive me, I am having issues tonight. So hear me gasping. It's just me trying to talk to you guys. That's why I had to stop doing the Wednesdays. It was too much. And they were yelling at me. So my voice will go up and down. Hopefully I won't get to stuttering. So also tomorrow night, me and Gemma both have little spots. Oh, Chris, what a bummers. Me and Gemma will be on Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal encounters tomorrow night at 8. They're doing their end of the year predictions. So I want to make up for last year since mine was such a kind of a dud. Well, I was kind of right, but I wasn't very. So I'm going to try to beef it up a little bit this time. I was a little nervous, but I'll be probably after Gemma. She'll go first, and a bunch of other people have been invited like last time, so it'll be just like last time. Giant teleopic was brought up in the border. Really? Oh, that's what you were saying. Hooters. 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 There's not any, I don't think there's any Hooters around. I know there's no Hooters around me anymore. I don't know about down around Chris or anybody else, but there's not much up here unless they're hidden. So, Chris, not so great. I hope just hang in there, bud. Life can be a pain. Believe me, I know. Oh, I know. I kind of wonder sometimes how much longer I'm going to be able to vocalize for myself. So I know. One, I think. Is there one up here? There used to be one over on 161. It's been gone for years. That was the only one I knew of in my area. No restaurant, no Hooters restaurants, no. Holiday depression, yeah, a lot of people. My dad kind of went through it too, so I know the story. I kind of went through it too for a little bit. That first week, well, actually, it was the week before. 1 week was my mom's birthday, and then last week was my brother's birthday on Tuesday. So it was kind of, I know. And then Mom passed a year ago on the 18th. So that's been kind of quiet. I've been kind of quiet, but then again, I got to watch how much I talk, so till they get us all fixed. But I hope everybody's else. I'm hoping you're doing all right, though, Chris. Just hang in there, bud. Once we get through New Year's, it'll be a little better. I hope. But yeah, tonight should be a good one. I like the owl connections with a lot of the stuff. Owls and aliens and owls and the paranormal. Some people think they're messengers, and they are in a lot of ways too. Our wing places, pluckers. We have one up here. Well, actually, the two big ones up here is BW3s, and roosters. And then we have a place called Kilts that's really good. And the women there are very fine too. They will. Kilts. The barn owl mostly. Yeah, I was going to use the picture, but I already used it once in one of my backgrounds. So I didn't want to use it again because I have a white barn owl that I have a picture with its wings off. But I figured I'd do something a little. I was trying to go for a little more festive colors since we're in between Christmas and New Year's. But yeah, barn owls. I was watching this video where these two guys were freaking out on one of those, what they call them, devil owls with the red eyes. Except he was kind of gray, he wasn't all black. They were going like freaking out, like, what the heck is this thing? It's got red eyes. And that squawked at them and they really freaked out. I just bought a barn owl picture today. Lots of owls for him today. Yeah, a lot of owls. Bought you an owl. You should buy a real owl. No. You gotta find one to raise it, make it right. No, they're interesting animals. A lot of lore behind owls and crows and ravens. So how's everybody doing? Did everybody have a good Christmas? I hope everybody had a good Christmas. Mine wasn't too bad. It was pretty lazy. I had kind of a Godzilla Christmas this year. I got a really good Dragon Ball Z shirt. Of course, it's in the laundry already. Yeah, I try to be the wingman. I try. I wish maybe we'd be a helper at the Birds of Prey Center. That would actually be kind of cool. I always wanted to volunteer for this place, but their volunteer list here in this state is really high for anything forestry. I mean, there's literally a wait to get in and do anything. So they got plenty of people doing it. Well, Chris, I'll be thinking of you, and I'll keep you in my prayers, bud. Just hang tight, man. If you're still here, just hang tight. I know it's rough. The guy who started Rooster is one of the two brothers who started Frickers down here in Cincinnati. They got into a big fight and went in different directions. It would surprise me. My son worked for Roosters for years. I mean, years. Almost 10 years. Now he doesn't work for them anymore. Good. I'm glad your Christmas was good. Yeah, mine was, like I said, mine was pretty lazy. I had to sell a lot of my Godzilla stuff. So my son's been trying to find whatever he could find. So he found me another one of my box set Godzillas, the older ones. And then he found me a set that I didn't have, which was the original King Kong, but I had it in Steelbook. But he got me the original King Kong, Son of Kong, and the original Mighty Joe Young all in a box set, which I thought was really cool. And he got me Godzilla -1 and a couple other things. I got a Destroyer pop. So I'm happy. Yeah, B-Dubs and Roosty and Cincy. Really? We call them, I think we call them Buffalo Wild Wings. Yeah, B-Dubs. Yeah, they used to be real big up here. The one on campus used to do really good. I don't think he does as good as it used to. Now, Giles worked at the Roosters they had put into my old restaurant, which was a Ponderosa. Well, it was Bonanza, then it became a Ponderosa. They converted it over to a Roosters, and he worked there. And he also worked at the one on West Broad Street. That's where he started. But he's worked at a bunch of them. They always are busy. Always busy. The best thing to do is donate, I guess. Yeah, that's what I figured too. I know I can pay for a private tour at the one near me, by me. I'll get to see owls and kept away from the public and handle them too. That would be kind of cool. Because you know your money's going to a good place. I'd rather do something like that because you know they're getting money. That's the problem with I hate about donating. You don't know how much percentage of that they actually get, which is weird. Nice owl display was at Metro Parks in Ohio. Yeah, they have some really nice setups here in Ohio, that's for sure. I did a lot of, yeah, I did too. Closest Hooters is in Madison. And Mason, really? That's still open? Oh, wow. Yeah, there's nothing, they're not around here anymore. You could donate meat too. Oh, that would actually be a good idea too. Help feed. Shelly Montgomery, how you doing, dear? I hope you are well. Seems like everybody's on the cell phone one, which is fine. I can't go back and forth, but it's nice because the actual chat, Chris is the only one in the room by himself, in the one place by himself. So I see you, Chris. Everybody else has this little phone beside their name, so I know what chat they're in, which is kind of cool. I hope you're well, Shelly. And you're doing good, and you had a good holiday or Christmas. I would prefer to call it Christmas. Yes, still on the phone. Yeah. That's fine. It's just neat because they actually show you in StreamYard where people are at. So if I'm in chat, I can go back and forth. Poor Chris is all by himself in the one area, but Chris, hang tight. I don't know if you can see them. You know, it'd be nice if they'd let the chat cross over. 27th of February. Love you too, Shelly. I know there's a lot of owl puns out there, all kinds of puns out there. Okay, hold on. I missed one of Chris's. This should be good. Let's make sure. Hold on one second. I'm bouncing back and forth between chats. That's this one. Yeah. Make sure I don't miss any of Chris's stuff. We'll next month we will get to see Kong on Monarch. Yeah, I know. I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm going back and forth. You got to remember, Chris, I got 2 chats going. There's now one for like cell phones and iPads, and then there's one for regular PCs, whatever you want to say, like a regular view. So I have to go back and forth. It's not about scrolling back and forth. It's about going from one chat to another chat. So I'm in with you right now. See? Hello. And I'll go back. I don't know. It's hard to do it this way, but it helps with the views. I will say that. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I can't wait till the new Monarch. That, from one of the things I've seen and heard, should be a good one. In fact, I just finished rewatching the first half just so I keep it fresh in my head. And I've been watching Stranger Things. We'll see. It's a good season so far. No complaints. I finished Dairy. Now I'm waiting for chapter 2. Come on, bring on chapter 2. The Bird Strike. I have a laptop, but I haven't activated it yet. Oh, wow, Shelly. I'm going to go back. That's the thing, Chris. That's how everybody's on the phone. I feel bad. I have to go back and forth, and I like typing the chat, but I can see everybody's talking here. I do it too to keep tabs, make sure nobody comes in and gives us a hard time. I should start to upload. Are you guys ready for it? We're going to be doing the owl one. I will stop because I'm going to go back. I'm going to stay here with Chris, but I will flip back and forth in chat so I can see your comments. If I can't answer over the phone, if I don't stop the video and say something, I'll type it in the chat so you folks know I'm watching. Look, I saw one of those from the cockpit of some commercial aircraft. Not much different from when you hit it. Yeah, exactly. Splat. That's basically what happens. Sadie Sink from Stranger Things is in a new Jean Grey. Is she? Interesting. That's interesting, Chris. That's very interesting. She'll be in the new Spider-Man. Oh, okay. Well, this will be interesting. That will be very interesting. I can wait to start it. Everybody's chatting. I like everybody chatting. Shelly says hi, Chris. And Chris says hi. I have to be the spokesperson to go back and forth, I guess. That's wild. Would you guys prefer me just to do it on one stream? Because I can do that. I mean, you guys will still get it on the phone. I'll do that next time, go back down to one stream, because it's crazy going back and forth. And when I start the video, I don't like with being on her own video, on her own channel, I can let it play through. That way you guys can actually hear it instead of me having to stop it all the time, like if it wasn't her channel. Go, season 2 of Followed is playing. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of season 1, but I may give season 2 a try and see what happens. Oh, it was okay. I mean, I didn't knock it. Wasn't a fan. I mean, I liked the first game, maybe the second game, but the show is. I guess I just couldn't get into it, but like I said, I've been rewatching stuff, so maybe I'll give it another try and then watch the second season as it starts. Oh, everyone else. No offense. Well, you're all right. Hi, Chris Kim. Hi, Chris. See, we can choose. I can choose. Yeah. Oh, you're on there too? Oh, you went with him? Yeah, you can choose even on your phone, which is weird. So I may just go back down to 1. Because it's hard for me to keep up. Because I feel bad because when I'm running the stream, because when I do our videos, I try not to talk as little as possible unless there's something I'd like to say. Can't leave Crystal and all. You're so sweet, Shelly. Hey, there's Eris. How you doing, Eris Mana? I hope you're well and had a good holiday season so far, or Christmas. How have you celebrated? I'm going to go back over to the other one. So Chris is not alone anymore. That's awesome. You guys are too sweet. Let's see if I'm on the right one. There we go. Nope. See, it's so weird. I can't, I'm on a small board, so I can't really. There we go. And there's the other one. There's giant owls. Giant owls. She wants giant owls. One on each stream. Now, I almost set up this one. But sometimes I have a problem trying to keep tabs of everything. So I'm back down to 1 screen. I mean, I could put 3 frames up, but I think it messes with my actual stream sometimes. Well, we're good too, Eris. We miss you. She'll be back at the beginning of the new year. She's just trying to get through the holiday season. Get all this stuff, and that and little man's home, so it does make a change for right now. But we'll be back to normal back here, and then when we come back, we'll be doing paranormal, of course, and then having some fun. We'll have a little fun too, and she wants to do the 911s and the missing cold cases and stuff like that too. So we may do some of that stuff. We're going to kind of mix it up a little bit on Friday nights now. See what else. I said this earlier, but tomorrow night we will be on Wayne and Michelle's channel at 8 o'clock on their Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal encounters channel. Sorry. 8 o'clock, doing their end of the year's predictions. I think she's on, and then I'll be on after her. We won't be on together, but we'll be, do our little segments. I'm going to do it because I want to kind of make up for last year. Hopefully I'll be able to talk. Because like last time I left this stream, I couldn't talk the rest of the night. I woke up pretty rough. My voice sounded like I had gravel for about 10 pounds of gravel in me. But yeah, make sure you guys show up for that tomorrow, 8 o'clock, Wayne and Michelle's channel. UFOs. I'll put the link in the comment section after this is done. But I know most of you guys know who they are, so. Oh, I saw one of those. Okay, I saw it. I'm trying to make sure I see everybody here. Yep, Wayne and Michelle. Good old Michigan and OFU sighting. Well, OFU UFO sightings and paranormal encounters. See, I'm having issues already. I'll send some woo links when email is fixed. There you go. I appreciate that. When you get it rocking, Lacho, always you're more than welcome to email me anytime, dude. I know you have it. Not just yell. This should be a good time. Everybody don't do what they did last year. Have a bunch of people on. Let everybody give their own little predictions. I wasn't very good last year. I was kind of nervous. I didn't know what to say. But I'm a little more ready this time. And we get a little short time, so. Because they get a lot of people on. I was impressed. So it should be a good time. Always is. I watch them a lot of times, but I just don't talk. I've been watching people not talking, just hanging out in the corner because I'm always trying to do stuff. Oh, I did all right. It could have been better. I wasn't very prediction-y. I pretty much kept it basic. Oh, excuse me again. But let's get on with this. Let me get it set up. Hopefully everything's ready to rock and roll here. Looks like it. Get it shared. 1 second. Get it up on the screen. Yeah, I did. I've done a lot of things. Gemma's been able to talk me into doing a few things I didn't really want to do, like being on SOR, but I did it for her. Wayne had another co-host years ago. I used to win all their contests they had. Oh, really? That's funny, Chris. Share screen. There we go. And make it big. See all the crap. Let's see how it looks. I'm going to cover you guys up for a minute. Looks good. You guys ready? Let me know on the sound, okay? Let me make sure it's up. There we go.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, just welcome. My name is GemmaJade, but today...
But does it sound good, folks? Everybody give me a thumbs up if it sounds good, folks. I'm going to start it and you can let me know and I'll be watching.
We are going to be discussing the connection between owls and abductees. I've been wanting to cover this topic for so long, and mainly it's because of not only my own recent remembrance
of at
least one abduction I experienced that was completely repressed, but also for so many of you who have reached out to me with your own stories about experiences you all have had involving owls and possibly being abducted by aliens. As far as I can tell, the start of the quote-unquote flying saucer phenomenon, as it was called when the sightings first started being reported, think Betty and Barney Hill, happened in 1947 when a pilot named Kenneth Arnold was flying his plane one day near the Cascade Mountains in Washington State in the United States. So as he was flying, he saw before him a fleet of triangular-shaped objects unlike anything he had ever seen before, flying in formation directly over the mountains. Now, it seems as though, at least as far as I could tell, that it was only a matter of hours of him reporting this that would be the whole startup of this UFO hysteria when it had officially begun. So he reports this, and within hours, it's hysteria. By the time a month had passed and what would come to be known as the Roswell incident had also happened in the desert of New Mexico, it seems the term flying saucer was on almost everyone's lips, and extraterrestrials became something more than mere fodder for so-called horror movies and science fiction shows everywhere. It's like they were suddenly now household names and somewhat acceptable to discuss around the dinner table in the privacy of one's own home, of course. This was all well and good, and while the discussions were definitely now taking place and people seemed to be becoming more aware, no one knew anything about, really at this point, what it all actually meant. or so it seems they didn't, until the abduction of Betty and Barney Hill happened, who I just mentioned above, and that happened in 1961. We've covered this very well-known abduction before on this channel many times, or at least discussed it, and most of us could probably recite most of it or all of it by heart. The married couple were driving on a dark, desolate, and lonely stretch of road on their way back from vacation late one night when they were allegedly taken aboard a UFO and experimented on. That seems to be where the first claims were made that perhaps these otherworldly creatures were interested in the human reproductive system more than anything else. These particular entities encountered by the Hills were described as emotionless and cold. It didn't take long after they came forward before not only was the public and the media searching for answers, but the United States Air Force got involved in this one as well. This one abduction, guys, had everyone so fascinated that a man named John Fuller was commissioned to write a book about it, and he gave it a very accurate and fitting title, in my opinion, as it was called The Interrupted Journey. Get it? Driving home from vacation, their journey home was definitely interrupted. Of course, and just with the publishing of that book at exactly the right time when the obsession with and hysteria over alleged abductions, it didn't take long before tens of thousands of people started coming forward with their own stories about their own encounters with extraterrestrials, many of which were very similar to the Hills' initial account. Unfortunately, we may never know exactly how many people, especially during this time, had actually come forward, mainly due to the shame, ridicule, and flat out animosity aimed at the alleged victims and witnesses who, in my opinion, very bravely, first did speak out about their experiences. The Hills very much indeed included in all of this. So while this so-called alien abduction phenomenon might seem at first glance as something straightforward and relatively simple, it's actually a very intricate and multifaceted phenomenon with more layers than an entire field of onions, not to mention all the efforts made by certain government entities, still to this day, I might add, as we all have very recently come to know as fact, even though we all kind of knew it from the beginning anyway, to silence witnesses, lose reports, and provoke the aforementioned scorn and animosity aimed at those who had the courage to come forward. There is one aspect that is seemingly very important to understand what's happening here with these abduction cases, at least most of the time, which is hardly ever discussed. And that includes right here on this channel. I'm guilty of not really covering this at all either. So that's the shape shifting taking place in so many different forms. It seems as though no matter where or how the abduction happens, witnesses/victims report seeing giant owls standing either on the side of the road, if they should be driving at the time, or at the foot of their bed, should they be asleep, or almost whenever it happens. Somehow the giant, and I mean giant, owl or owls are always there lurking in the shadows right before the experience commences. So it's like there's this sighting of the owl, some lost time, and then they find themselves suddenly aboard a UFO and being subjected to all kinds of traumatizing and usually very painful experiments. There is also another way this happens, though, at least allegedly, and it's when the person or people will see the owl and then there's nothing but haze and fuzzy, skewed, and sometimes missing memories of whatever happens next. The one thing they always remember in this scenario, though, is that they definitely saw a giant-sized owl that had deep, dark, and very intense eyes that they lost themselves in when they made the initial contact with them. Keep in mind as we go forward that the correlation between extraterrestrial abductions and owls has been being reported for a very, very long time, but it seems as though it's only now in more recent years that we're starting to not only take these reports more seriously, but also that we're finally able to start at least trying to connect some of the dots some of the time. So I wanted to find some encounters and reports that undoubtedly feature this particular vision or whatever it is. And our first one is kind of undeniable. A Scottish woman, we will be calling Minnie for the sake of her privacy and with respect for anonymity, lives in a town located almost remarkably close to Loch Ness, which depending on how you look at it, that could be another dot that may need connecting. But for now, guys, let's try and focus on the owls. Focus, Gemma. It was 2007 when she claims to have had her encounter, and she said it was a warm and clear summer day. She was walking her dog along the hills that overlook Loch Ness itself when something truly, truly bizarre happened. From the description she gave of what she saw, she was staring right at what we have all come to know as a gray alien. She first saw it from a distance of a couple of hundred feet away and thought at first glance it looked like a small human child. She only came to this conclusion, though, due to the fact that it was so far away and the height of it. It was very small or short. So she started walking closer to it, despite her dog refusing to move even an inch closer to whatever this thing was. It was then that she realized that she was not staring at a child, or at least not a human one, and she froze with fear and dread, just as her dog had done steps behind her. Minnie made eye contact with the being, and they stood there for quite a while, locked in some sort of staring contest or something. They were just kind of both shocked to see the other, I guess. When the entity suddenly reached out its arm to her, the second the gray alien's arms were fully outstretched, Minnie stated she watched as it transformed almost instantaneously into a large gray owl. It was, quote, impossibly large, end quote, the size of a full-grown man. It all happened so fast, and as soon as the transformation from strange alien to supersized owl was complete, the alien/bird thing took off faster than humanly possible into the skies and flew right over Loch Ness. As Minnie watched on in fear and a sense of awe and wonder all mixed together, it disappeared from sight into the trees, and possibly altogether. As she couldn't see where it had gone, there was no way to be sure if it just flew off into the woods or if it actually just vanished into thin air. Both are very much possible, right? So here's where the account gets. Minnie is 100% sure that she did not experience any missing time at all, and that her memories of the event are true and accurate and in perfect order, again, with nothing at all missing. Before we go any further, guys, let me posit this to you. Do we know, or would we know, if there was any missing time? I never realized it until very recently when I have had instances of missing time, but my experiences were a lot different because I also uncovered some false memories, not only that were given to me that I've managed to break through lately, but to my dad, who is steadfast in his claim that it happened the way he still remembers and that I originally remembered. He is still kind of bound by this screen memory, even though I know it's false. And the reason I bring this up is because could some people just be like my dad, who just don't know that the time there is missing? It is a bit different, and also I'm saving those stories for further videos and also for further articles in the Paranormal Press magazine about my abductions and my screen memories and all that. So back to Minnie in Scotland. She has no vague or foggy memories of a strange craft or any other beings or entities, no hazy experiments being performed on her, reproductive or otherwise. No bad dreams or nightmares involving any of this either, and she is adamant her memory is correct, complete, and 100% accurate and intact. A small, short, and gray alien outstretching its arms, turning into a gigantic owl and flying away across the loch and disappearing into the woods. That's her memory. Minnie has since come up with a very interesting theory as to what happened to her, and you'll have to let me know what you all think in the comments below about this one, guys, because I'm not sure. But some believe she is trying far too hard to rationalize and give regular and ordinary meaning to her extraordinary and surreal encounter that day. I've said it many times before, and I'll say it again right now. As human beings, we will go to great lengths to rationalize the incomprehensible and to make ourselves feel better about something frightening we may have come across that we can't make sense of or literally cannot wrap our minds around. I must say, though, that to me, her theory makes some sense, though it won't always be the explanation. But in this and some other cases, I believe full well it could be what's happening or what happened. So what's Minnie's theory? She believes, and again, I tend to agree, that extraterrestrials, or at the very least the Greys, have the ability to shapeshift into anything. She believes she just happened to see an owl, and that in this owl, or whatever other form, they are able to very easily spy on humanity, and specifically abductees and hybrids as well. Believe it or not, the list is actually very, very long of the forms, mainly animals, that ETs in general are supposedly able to take on. It's mainly thought to be, though, cats, black cats especially, owls, German Shepherd dogs, and even deer. That's just a few of the many, guys, believe me. I mean, if it's true or even to be believed, it's a rather ingenious idea. How would we ever know unless, like Minnie, we witnessed the transformation with our very own eyes? Let's move on to Joe from Newport Beach, California, who told his story to some people while at a conference called Contact in the Desert, which took place in 2014 in Joshua Tree, also in California. Joe is unlike Minnie in that he has had several encounters throughout his lifetime. Joe is a store manager, and it seems as though his encounters weren't of the abduction type either, but of the contactee variety. And guys, I've talked briefly about it before, but at least in my opinion, there is a huge, huge difference between the two, between contactee and abductee. Think about making contact with a creep or a stalker, but then having them actually kidnap or abduct you, right? That's kind of what I liken it to. Weird analogy, but I hope that it makes sense. So Joe's experiences had him having a ton of communication with a very specific type of extraterrestrial entities where they discussed at length things like spirituality, the mind, and the body. The ETs he claimed contacted him were described as being very human looking with long hair and who could have easily passed for a regular human being as long as no one looked too closely or, as Joe did, engage them in any type of conversation. So let's talk about Giant Rock, California, which is close to the small town of Landers. I bring up the town of Landers for a reason, so please bear with me for a moment as we discuss a very famous, or rather infamous, contactee named George Van Tassel, who from the 1950s to the 1970s held outdoor UFO conferences on a yearly basis. This was brave back then, guys. This is quite spectacular, guys, because back in those days, there weren't things like the CE5 app or Close Encounters stories so much in the mainstream collective. So back to our witness, Joe, and it does all mesh together, so don't worry. Joe claims that in the year 2001, he went to this old rock in this area, and I'm sorry, but my source material was very unclear here, and I'm not sure if this old rock is located in Giant Rock or if it's located somewhere in Landers where George Van Tassel held his contactee groups. The information wasn't there. But either way, let's roll with it. So Joe says that at this rock, he met and communicated with an entity whose name was Capsona. Capsona was one of the aforementioned human-looking, long-haired beings who are kind of making me think of the Nordic aliens, but again, it's super vague in my source material, so I really can't be sure. Capsona was a woman, and she was almost unnaturally beautiful, and she was dressed in a long white gown. They sat there for hours discussing the state of humanity and how negative everything was at the time or seemed to be in the moment, because as we all know, and I don't think I'm alone in this opinion, but I definitely could be, that it's gotten much, much worse, at least here in the United States. But honestly, with all of my friends, you guys out there all over the world, I've come to understand that the energy is just disgusting. And once again, the sleepers have taken over. But I'll stop ranting here, or at least I'll try, because I'm going to do some spirituality videos very, very soon while I have the time. And I'll be talking about all of that with you all. So stay tuned. But that just made me think like they thought they had it so bad back then, right? Anyways, Joe and Capsona discussed at length the state of the human race there at Old Rock that day. As soon as the sun started to set over the desert, though, Capsona told Joe he needed to take a step back from her, which he did, and he moved back about 40 feet away from her. According to Joe, with the blink of an eye, his beautiful extraterrestrial lady friend was all at once bathed in a quite unnatural but beautiful white light. Then suddenly she transformed right before his eyes into a gorgeous snow white owl. The owl was 4 feet tall and flew off very fast, again unnaturally so, into the dusky sky until she was completely and totally out of sight. Once again, there seems to be no missing time or screen memories here, which I don't know if it makes it better or worse, that it's seemingly so simplistic in that it's an extraterrestrial being shape-shifting into a giant owl. I don't know how tall Capsona was originally, but I don't think she was 4 feet. I think that would have been mentioned. So it was like she had to kind of shrink down, even though the owl was huge. Does that make sense? I obviously have a ton of questions here, and I'm sure many of you guys do as well. One thing I have to put out there, though, is this. How inconspicuous really is a 4-foot owl? I mean, if they're really shape-shifting into animals in order to spy on us, then why wouldn't they just shape-shift into a regular-sized owl? It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm definitely going to notice an owl the size of my 4-year-old or one the size of a small sedan, right? Are they shifting into regular-sized animals as well? I truly have no idea, but I would love to hear your theories about it all. Now, let's get into screen memories. Screen memories seem to be the mind's way of turning a threatening or traumatizing situation into something exactly the opposite in order to protect us from the emotional or other types of trauma or horror that could cause us to literally shut down. Also, they could be being implanted by the ETs to protect us from not only remembering what happened for whatever unknown reason, but also because maybe they care and they don't want us to be traumatized or expecting them to come again, right? There's so much to it, guys, so much. And this is by far not only going to be part 1. And that definition I just gave you is an exact or proper. It's not like the official one. It's just something that I kind of came up with of what I believe they could be when they're not being implanted. So when they're not implanted screen memories, they're just our own. Why would they be implanted though? Is it as simple as protecting us from something? I'm not really sure, because I believe that the ETs put them there in our minds in order to make sure we don't remember and in turn report what they are doing to us, regardless of whether it's a positive or a negative experience. After all, let's think about how advanced we already know extraterrestrials to be. I mean, it shouldn't come as a surprise that they can literally implant very specific and very real memories to cover up the real and actual memories of what happened to us or what they had done to us. Basically, to make sure that the truth is never brought to the light of the public. Only it seems that as more and more abductees and contactees come forward, and as the collective becomes more enlightened in their views of these types of things, we as a whole are starting to see right through these deeply ingrained and very real seeming memories. To get back to what we're discussing here today in this video though, more and more lately it seems to be the vision of a creepy and surreal seeming owl that is the thread that leads to the unraveling of the entire thing. So it's like people start remembering seeing owls, giant or otherwise, and then they're like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Why was an owl at the foot of my bed? There it goes. We've discussed so many times here on this channel Whitley Strieber and his experiences, and also his book Communion, which, by the way, absolutely fascinating. The cover of his book is an image of what we have all basically come to learn, know, and accept as what we now call the alien graves. On December 26, 1985, right after the first encounter that Whitley reported, he claims his mind was filled to almost overflowing, where it was all he could ever think about for the longest time: images of owls. Is it all a giant coincidence? And do I need to once again and for the millionth time reiterate how I feel and what I believe about coincidences? I mean, I don't think so, right? Anyways, what many people aren't aware of when it comes to Whitley is that his sister also had her own possible experiences with an owl or owl imagery in the early 1960s, much earlier than Whitley himself started having, or at least remembers having had, his own abduction experiences. In his book Communion, which was published in 1987, he tells the story his sister recounted to him. She said she was driving in Texas in the United States between the towns of Kerrville and Comfort when, quote, she was terrified to see a huge light sail down and cross the road ahead of her. A few minutes later, an owl appeared in front of the car. I have to wonder if that is not a screen memory, but my sister has no sense of it, end quote. So again, if we're thinking back to Minnie, right, she said that her memories are in order. There's no way there's any missing time. There's no way anything really significant happened that she doesn't remember. But that's what Whitley's sister is also saying. But why the owl then? Why show itself at all? I mean, there has to be something more to that. There is another connection that could very well be made here, and I don't want to ramble as I sometimes do when I get excited about and fascinated by a subject, such as is the case with this particular one, but it definitely does need to be brought up. Let's discuss, just for a moment, cryptozoology. We've all heard of things like the Loch Ness Monster, the Mothman, and Bigfoot, but have any of you ever heard of the Owlman? Allegedly, this creature was first reported way back in 1976. Somewhere in the woods near Monnan Old Church in Cornwall, England. The witnesses all said that this thing was very human-like in a variety of ways, but it was also very animalistic in that it had very large wings, claws, and red eyes like fire. It also put out this energy of malevolence, and some said downright evil too. Some people have even drawn parallels with the aforementioned Mothman of Point Pleasant, West Virginia in the United States. On Easter weekend in June of 1967, two young girls named Vicky and June Melling had an extremely unpleasant experience with a creature in the Monnan woods. They were exploring while on vacation with their parents, visiting an old abandoned church from the 13th century when they saw what they called, quote, a birdman, end quote, that was gigantic, humanoid, and had huge feathers. An author named John Downes wrote a book called Owlman and Others, and this is allegedly and seemingly when this incident and this creature were both first reported. Ever since this particular report came up, though, many others have come forward also claiming to have encountered the same beast in the same area. Is it cryptozoological, extraterrestrial, supernatural in nature? The experts are split about that and don't really know the answers to the whys or the hows, possibly even the whens. It could be a mix of all three or something else altogether. But in more recent years, it seems as though the reports have been a bit different. enabling us to glean a bit more information about what could actually have been encountered here and or what's actually being witnessed. I came across a report from an unnamed woman who claims to have lived at one time near the Monan Woods, more specifically in the small Cornwall village of Gweek in England, G-W-E-E-K, Gweek. Between Monan Woods and the village of Gweek, when traveling by car, is approximately 6.5 miles, give or take. She claims that in 1998, she had an extraordinary encounter with a UFO, and it has ever since profoundly been affecting her. She was actually driving the 6.5 miles from Monan to Gweek after visiting a friend. It was late, about 11 at night, and she was making the return drive home from where her friend lived in Monan to where she had previously moved to the town of Gweek. It wasn't more than a few minutes after exiting Monan and while driving on the dark and desolate road, of course, to home that she had her encounter with a UFO, which was parked on the side of the road, looked to be about the size of a large beach ball, and was glowing a bright orange in color. In the blink of an eye, or so it seemed, and before she could quite understand what had happened to her, she was parked on the side of the road and missing 2 full hours of time. She had no idea how in the world she had ended up parked where she was when it seemed as though just a second ago she had been driving past this strange and somewhat unbelievable glowing beach ball spaceship thing. As she came to, she felt very groggy and disoriented, but remembered one very, very specific thing. A gigantic owl-like creature that also seemed somehow human in nature. It was simply hovering there on the side of the road in front of her vehicle. It was floating approximately 15 feet in the air, but to make things even stranger was that it seemed somehow to be defying our laws of gravity and that it wasn't using its wings to keep itself afloat. It was simply and quite literally hovering there and staring down at her. This sighting/encounter is said to have happened mere steps outside of the woods from which the first Owlman sighting had been reported, not only the first time back in 1976 by the 2 little girls vacationing with their parents, but also where it's been reportedly seen and encountered ever since. Our witness does admit that she was very familiar with the legends of the Owlman and all of the reported sightings right there in that area, as it was a small town and she lived there for a while, for long enough to hear all of the reports and rumors about this so-called creature. The frustrating part here is that aside from what I just previously told you she reported, the missing 2 hours, the owl creature, and the glowing orange ball of light, she had nothing else to say or report about any of it. There aren't yet any recovered memories as far as I could find anyways, and this is all we are left with. If I may speculate for a moment, I believe it's obvious she was abducted by extraterrestrials and the owl some sort of false screened memory. I say failed because she knew it was strange and not just a regular sighting of an owl in the woods, and also she remembered the glowing ship and realized she had the missing time there, the whole 2 hours. I'm not sure I believe in the cryptozoological concept here, though, with this particular creature, and think if we were able to come up with just a little more information or possibly speak to the witnesses/victims, it's almost definite that they've had some sort of abduction experience, or at the very least, an encounter story which they haven't yet remembered. Again, I don't know exactly how the giant owl creature fits in, and it makes so much more sense to me to shapeshift into a regular-sized animal, owl or otherwise, in order to be more convincing and much more capable of spying, if that's even what they're doing. I mean, is that a perfect idea? No. There are so many questions and contradictions, but in this community, sometimes that's all we're left with until further research and or information is presented to us. I also find it very interesting that the owl is always said to be the height of what we have come to know is the approximate height of the short or small alien grays. Think about that for a minute. I'm going to definitely continue this in another video really soon as we talk about how regular owls are most likely, at least some of the time, shape-shifting extraterrestrials and how they use them for screen and implanted memories, and in some instances I found as well, to spy on certain humans. So stay tuned. That's all I have for you today, guys. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the content, if you enjoyed hanging out with me, if you just want to see me smile. Spread the love by sharing this video. Got to get that sub count up. Yay.
Yeah, get that count up, guys.
If you haven't already.
Make sure you thumbs it up.
If you have not checked out my Being on the Show Disembodied Voices with Dr. Kelly Renee Schutz on the Paraflix Network.
Okay, that's already been done. So I'm going to cut this off. Still going. Okay. 1 second here. Let me do something here real fast in case we decide to do another one. Trying to keep up with 2 chat rooms. Actually, it's kind of fun. but I feel bad about having to go back and forth. I think I'll just go back to one stream next week. It's a lot easier. I can see everybody. Though it is nice on the account because there are people that seem to enjoy it that way. Get to find my other video, my other upload here that I picked out in case I decided to do a second one. 1 second here. Oh, sorry about that. I'm trying to find it. I try to make them older ones and work my way up. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There's the one I just did. Where's the other one? Oh, about abductees and USOs, underwater submerged objects, was the other one I was going to do in case we decide to do a second one. You're welcome, Shelley. You're very welcome. I'm trying to get situated here. 1 second, one more thing. I'm trying to go back and forth, but I really don't need to right now. Yeah, owls are, me and owls. Owls actually my spirit animal. I thought it was something else, but I found out about a month ago, 2 months ago, that owls are my spirit animal. So interesting. I always thought it was something else. I don't know someone who saw a 4-foot owl in a barn once. He backed out. So I would have too. They're big. I've seen some big owls. The Columbus Zoo had one. I mean, I think it must have been at least 2 foot, 3 foot tall. Looked like a small kid. When its back was turned. The thing was amazing. It was a beautiful owl. I believe it was a barn owl. But there are some really huge owls out there that are discovered. Pretty cool ones too. And the bird population is pretty amazing. It's kind of like the amphibian and the reptilian. There are species they still haven't discovered of those either. Frogs and newts, different types of newts and salamanders. They're still discovered. Chris could probably tell you about that too. Chris Jarvis just posted a video of a road rager getting knocked out by a trucker and dragged off the interstate. I guess he brake checked him. The semi truck and found out the hard way. Yeah, you don't do that. You don't do that. And the GEMMA'S drivers that probably would have done the exact same thing. Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, but owls, I love. Everybody has this thing with owls when it comes to the mysticism, the paranormal, and UFOs. You know, it's like that movie. They're usually pretty smart. Barn owls are not huge, maybe a foot. But this thing was, I'm pretty sure it was a barn owl. I don't think it was from here. I think it was from like Russia or something. But she said it was a variety of barn owl. But God, that was years ago. I don't even know if he's still there or not. He looked like he was a pretty old man. Yeah, Chris was over there on the other stream talking about, you know, how the Mexicans, you know, fear certain owls because they think they're, you know, shapeshifters, brujas, witches, and that's why a lot of them disappear. We were talking about that earlier. Owl. Yeah, they're messengers. They, if you've ever seen the movie The Fourth Kind, they use a lot of the owl. That takes place in Nome, Alaska. And a lot of those abductees will tell you in real time that they always wake up to owls out the window, the white snow owls and stuff, big white snow owls. So, yeah. I've heard from messengers to bringers of sorrow and bringers of happiness. Depends on the type of the owl. Depends on type of the owl. Owls are big amongst the Fae too. But it's really heavy in the UFO, UAP myths, a lot of that. There's a lot of owl symbolism in that. Probably because, you look at gray owls and the big eyes. I can see that. And, somebody brought up they can shapeshift. There's stories about, kids being abducted by Elmo. So, these things, whatever they may be, aliens or whatever, know what makes you calm. They know what makes you happy. That's how they calm you down and bring you to kind of like a demon to kind of suck you in. A lot of people like owls. A lot of people associate owls with a lot of things. So you guys up for another one? I can play another one. I'm just trying to watch how much I talk because I got to get up in the morning and do some talking. And I want to be able to talk. Those Muppets from the closet. The Muppets. Wait. The Muppets. I kind of got lost there for a second, and then there's a bell's going off my head. The Muppets from the closet. The Muppets from the closet. I'm trying to play. You kind of lost me there. I'm a little lost. I'm trying to keep up with the conversation. I thought you. Oh, from Muppets from the closet. Yeah, there's an actual encounter. Well, where a kid said he was talking to Elmo, but he didn't think he was in his room. It turned out to be an abduction story. And then the one was, I've heard abduction stories about they were talking to owls. I've heard one where a little girl was actually talking to a Raggedy Ann doll that was dressed like her mom. So there's some weird stories about how they kind of get in your head. Yeah, Elmo, the Elmo from Sesame Street. Yeah, I am. There's a few stories like that, but with other Muppets. Yeah, I know there is. Well, you figure Sesame Street with kids is real big, and it was in its heyday. So I don't think it gets the views like it used to. I wouldn't know why. I'm going to leave it at that. But yeah, in my day, the Muppets, every kid watched the Muppets. We grew up with the Muppets. Big Bird, here's some chapstick. Yeah, really. But yeah, I've heard some really strange stories about kids and Muppets. There was this one story. I'm trying to remember where I heard it at. I think it might have been one of the channels I watch where this kid was talking to a cartoon character, Winnie the Pooh. He was talking to Winnie the Pooh. And when he woke up, he was actually sitting beside his Winnie the Pooh doll. But he swore he had a conversation with. He told his mom he swore he had a conversation with it. But it wasn't in his room. It was in Winnie the Pooh's treehouse, or his tree. Yeah, his treehouse. Yeah, it is kind of scary. It'll make you feel good. 1 second. Sorry about that. The Messengers, Owls, Synchronicity, and the UFO Abduction. Actually, that's a really good book. Have you read that, Lotro? I need to find my copy. It's been a while. That's an older book, too. That's not that new. Right? If I remember right, that's a few years old. And he talks about that, yeah. Hold on. Shoot. This is where I have my issues. what happens is I get this, my throat starts protecting itself, so it builds up this coating inside. It just makes me. So I don't know how much longer I'll last. I've been trying to make it an hour to an hour and a half, because that seems about when my voice really starts to give me crap. But yeah, that's a good book. Have you read that book, Al? If you haven't read that book, read that book. Because that's a good book. Now, you were talking earlier, Portal talked about owls. I know I was watching another channel. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago? They were talking about owls. It was just one I stumbled on. I don't even remember the name. But they were talking about owls and abductees. So the owls are coming, it's like things go through these little phases that keep repeating themselves. Just saw the reference. Yeah, you should read it. It's a good book. Pretty neat. He does a pretty good job. You got to remember, though, this is all theory. Nobody has true facts. It's all theory. These people make it sound like, this is what it really is. But do we really know? My mother-in-law saw a huge blackout. It passed over her while driving. Its wingspan reached from one end of a regular 2-lane highway. Wouldn't surprise me. I haven't read it. No. That's wow. That's a big owl. Now the owl man's pretty common. So, when they first started talking, when I was younger and they were talking about the Mothman and the way they were describing him, to me, sounded like an owl. I actually thought they were talking about the owl man. When I first heard the stories and listened to people describe it, it don't sound like a moth. It sounds like an owl. Because some people would say the wings were feathered, and others said it was like moth wings. So, but yeah. What if it was of both of them? But that's actually a very good. I highly suggest that book. It's a good book. In fact, I need to find my copy. Hopefully, I still have it because I sold a bunch of that stuff. I mean, I sold a lot to get chemo done and stuff when I was younger, a few years back before I even entered this scene, and I sold a lot of stuff. But I have a bunch of books I got put away. Maybe it's in there. Yeah, I've heard some people describe a dark gargoyle too in some of those sightings. Now, gargoyles is a very interesting subject. And when the cartoon, remember the Disney cartoon Gargoyles? When that came out, plus that older movie, I thought they would become big again. It was just a fad. And gargoyles have quite a history too. And there are gargoyles that actually look like owls. Take care, Lottery. You have a good one, bud. Hopefully, if I don't see you before New Year's, have a good New Year's, okay? But, sir, be safe and have a good time. Meanwhile, they're just thinking it's a Mothman. Though I've seen some of the sketches that people have done when they've seen it. And to them, it looks like a moth. And it looks like a moth. But I've also heard so many one would describe it in one way, and I now hear another person describe it kind of different. So maybe it's just the way people are seeing this thing. Because when I first heard the story and the way people described it, I said, that doesn't sound like a moth. It sounds like an owl. Because when the first description I heard, it said they had feathers. And moths don't have feathers. One second again. My throat is going to drive me nuts. Wow. See, I lasted about an hour trying to talk solid. That's why I'm kind of making this show the main show for me. Now, I still may stream every so often, pop in one night and just do a surprise stream so we can all sit and chat. But right now, until we get this thing figured out, because usually about 8 or 9 o'clock, because I do a lot of talking on the day, I'm not worth crap voice-wise. I mean, I'm in good spirits, just can't talk. So I make it a point so far between on these streams, I've been not trying to talk like an hour or two before stream. I saw a gargoyle once too, but that was a weird one. I saw it in the astral realm, which is a word to even say. Yeah, it does sound kind of weird, huh? Okay. I've seen some weird stuff. Some of it you could probably describe maybe gargoyle-like. Like this one spider thing I saw once kind of looked like a gargoyle the way it looked. And it disappeared so fast, though. It was like, I mean, it just happened real fast. And that was actually around the Catholic Church, believe it or not. Which kind of concerned me even more. Because it was a weird looking thing. That was just right up the street. Not the Catholic Church, just right up the street. St. Michael's. Though I'm not Catholic. But yeah. In fact, I've seen some strange stuff. Cool. On shadows around that church. Some weird stuff. They have a festival every year. And I used to like go. Now I don't like going because people are there. It's at a church, Catholic church. They're all drinking. I always see the weirdest shadows and the weirdest things following people. So I don't go anymore. Really, I love black blue commercial. I haven't. That's wild. That is pretty wild. They even bring up the beard on if it was that weird. Yeah, I probably won't do a second one tonight. See how I feel next week. God, I hate this. I just want to get it fixed. Because I don't feel as fun as I used to be, and it sucks. We used to have a pretty good time here. And I've had to cut back because everything that's going on. Kind of miss you guys, man. Not doing Wednesdays. But until they do this, I gotta be good. Now we will be here, like I said, tomorrow night, Sunday at 8 on Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal encounters with Wayne and Michelle. They're doing the prediction and their end of the year predictions. So please show up. He's got a bunch of guests coming on, do the little predictions like last year. I'm going to try to make mine better than it was last year. It was the first time I did it. And Gemma will probably be on before me. I'll probably be on after her. And then I'll do a bunch more. I don't know if we're the first batch or what. So he said probably about 8:30 for me. So we'll see. But please show up. Show some support. Wayne and Michelle are great. They're awesome people. Super nice people. I know most of you guys will probably pop in. I appreciate that. And spread the word around. I really enjoy being here. Next week, we'll try to get 2 in. And hopefully I'll be a little vocal better. I was doing great until I had daughter called me right before we streamed. That's why you didn't hear back from me. I was talking to my daughter. I kept telling her, man, I gotta stop. I want to have my voice. But she lives in Kansas and I miss her. They had a good Christmas too. She's sick too. So whatever it is, it's going around all over the place. So be careful, folks. Because Gemma's still fighting it pretty good. She sounded a lot better today, but she said her fever won't break. So I know she was feeling rough, but she sounded pretty tired when I talked to her. But she sounded better than she did all week. So keep praying for everybody that's sick. healing light and all that good stuff. I think I'm going to ahead and call it. I hate to do this. I want to be able to talk in the morning. I got to meet with some people for lunch. Told them I'd be there, so I'm going to go. And you guys have a wonderful, happy New Year. And, well, Al, you can yell at me anytime. I'm going to start this a little different next week. Don't forget us tomorrow night, Michigan UFO sighting and paranormal encounters on Wayne and Michelle's channel. Would love to see you there. It's always a good time. The predictions are always fun too. Have a wonderful and safe New Year's Eve. If you go out in public, keep your eyes peeled, stay alert. Be safe going home. I'll probably talk to a lot of you over that time. I always send up my Happy New Year's. So be blessed, folks. Have a wonderful night. I'm going to go take my medicine so I can sleep without feeling like I got boulders running down my throat. And hopefully I'll be talking to you soon. And if everything seems chilled this week and I feel pretty good, I'll try to jump on Wednesday night so we can all just sit back and relax and chat, because I miss those. And that's probably what I'll do from off and on from here on out, is just if I can get on during the week or like a Friday night after me and Gemma streaming, I'm feeling pretty good. Jump on, we can all shoot the crap, because I do enjoy it and do love the conversation. And have a blessed week. Once again, I can't stress this enough. Have a safe and fun Happy New Year's Eve and day. Enjoy your time. But Mom, and I'm getting ready to sign off, hon. I'm about pushing my limit on the voice. I go about an hour and a half now. And hopefully that'll stretch out once we get it fixed. We're doing pretty good. I'm doing okay. So get the voice back to where it should be and we'll be good. But I'm waiting. They probably won't do nothing until after the holidays. I'm still waiting for 2 doctors to confirm some things, and hopefully I can get in and get it fixed. Oh, it's all right, Bat Mom. Just watch the replay. It was one of Gemma's good ones about Al, so at least watch it. Come back and watch the upload, the replay. I appreciate it. And it's all right, Bat Mom. Once I get myself going again and I get this voice thing fixed, I'll probably stay on a lot longer. You need to smoke mullen leaf now. That don't work, hon. Not for what I have, hon. This is Paralysis esophagus that's now kind of spread due to acid reflux over the years. Even though the acid reflux is in check, the Barrett's esophagus will be coming down, and it's stressing out the vocal cords, and it's messing with my throat and then on top of that, Tourette's and all the years of some of the nerve damage has also compiled on top of that. So it's either a very expensive surgery, which I don't really want to do because there's no guarantee, but there's other things they can do, at least make it comfortable, make it last a little longer. And that's all I'm hoping. I don't want nothing fancy. I just want to be able to communicate without gasping or sound like gravel or stuttering or not be able to even get a word out. That's my only goal right now. I just want to be here as long as I can with you folks. I love you guys, and I do. And I love doing this. That was a long and good night, wasn't it? No, you're good, Bat Mom. You're fine. I love talking, and I'm taking my time because signing off because I'm trying to make it at least worth your guys' time and effort. That night, I hate when people come in and I'm leaving. No, I'm good. Like I said, I'm getting done here. I'm due for my next dose. It's bad enough if I go to bed, I have to get up anyways and take it. So it's like a syrup. It coats my throat, kind of numbs it up a little bit. Makes it a little easier to vocal and talk. So much love. I'm going to let you guys go. I think I'm going to go. I will be back here next Saturday. Now, I don't know about Fridays yet until she lets me know. You can be Stephen Hawking. Man, I don't want to talk. If I have to talk like that, I don't even want to talk. I'd rather just get a whiteboard and write it and hold it up. I don't want to sound like that. Hello, everybody. I can go AI voice, I guess. Yes. Have a happy New Year to you, Fat Mom. Please have a very good happy New Year, folks. And have a safe one. Like I said, if you go out New Year's Eve in public, in big crowds, just keep your eyes peeled. A lot of craziness going on out there. Just, stay alert, stay aware. Much love to you, folks. And I'll see you probably next Saturday if I don't decide to pop on one night this week. And you guys just have a safe one, okay? I love you guys. And I will see you on the flip side. I know you're strapped. I carry now too. Take care. And I'll see you folks on the flip side. Much love to you all. And peace out.